Okay, so you're thinking about a career as a security guard supervisor. Really want to know what it's actually like beyond just, the surface level.
Yeah.
Well, we're going deep on this one.
I like it.
Using RoleCatcher, they've got like thousands of these career guides and all
Mhm.
sorts of resources to help us really unpack this.
Yeah, it's interesting. What's fascinating about this role is that it sounds kind of simple, right?
Right?
Security guard supervisor, but it's so much more than just standing guard, you know?
Yeah, RoleCatcher defines it as protecting property, managing guards, handling trespassers, all that. But I get the feeling there's got to be way more to it than just that, right?
Oh, absolutely. The definition, it kind of captures the basics, but the day-to-day can be incredibly diverse.
Okay.
One day you might be in a corporate office building, the next you're in a hospital. I mean, you're dealing with totally different security concerns, environments, everything.
So you're saying it's like a good fit for someone who thrives on variety then?
Yep.
I can see that being a big appeal for sure.
Exactly. And it's not even just about the setting. This role is really at the crossroads of like technology A&D people skills, which is
Yeah.
something most people don't expect.
Okay, so let's break that down a bit. The tech part.
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice for a security guard supervisor?
Well, think about it. You might be managing sophisticated CCTV systems
Okay.
using, AI-powered facial recognition software,
Wow.
or even programming access control systems for a building with like thousands of employees.
That's way more high-tech than I pictured it, honestly. It's not just about being observant anymore.
Yeah.
You have to understand these complex systems.
Right.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, and that's where the people skills come in too.
Okay.
Because you're not just managing technology, right? You're
Right.
leading a team, you're building trust, you're de-escalating like tense situations. You might have to calm down an upset employee 1 minute and then analyze security footage to investigate an incident the next.
It's almost like being a detective AD, a diplomat, all in one. That's a very unique skill set. No wonder RoleCatcher says that the security industry is like booming right now.
It is. And it's not even just about those traditional security concerns anymore. Think about like the rise of cybersecurity threats, or even just how much more emphasis is placed on safety in public spaces these days. The need for skilled security guard supervisors, it's only going up.
Yeah. And speaking of going up, what about someone who's, ambitious, wants to climb that ladder in this field? What's that look like for a security guard supervisor?
Well, RoleCatcher, they lay out like a pretty clear path, actually. You
Okay.
start with entry level, then you move up to junior security guard, and then finally you reach that senior security guard level. And each stage, it comes with more responsibility, but also a chance to make a bigger impact.
Okay, so paint me a picture then of that journey. What's that progression actually look like on the ground, day to day?
Okay, so imagine this. You start as entry level, right? You're patrolling, responding to incidents, really just learning the ropes. It's all about proving you can, handle the unexpected, stay calm when things get a little intense.
So you're the eyes and ears, basically, at that level, getting a feel for the environment.
Exactly. Then you move up, become a junior security guard. Now you're stepping into more of a leadership role.
Okay.
You're assigning those patrols, maybe even training new recruits who are just coming in. You might even work with local law enforcement if a situation really escalates.
Wow, that's a pretty quick jump from learning to leading.
Yeah.
So what about senior security guard? What kind of responsibilities do they handle? That seems like the strategic level.
Yeah, for sure. At that level, you're not just reacting anymore, right?
Yeah.
You're proactively shaping the entire security landscape for like a whole company or building, whatever it is. You're developing training programs, collaborating with other departments on safety protocols. And you're staying ahead of, those emerging threats we talked about, like cybersecurity risks.
So you're not just a security expert at that point. You're like a leader, a trainer, a bit of a futurist even.
A little bit, yeah.
That's really interesting. Now, RoleCatcher, they actually give some real-life examples of like people at each of these stages, right? What are their skills like? What kind of traits stand out to you?
Oh, yeah, they do. For entry level, they highlight someone who thrives in those fast-paced environments, obviously stays cool under pressure, but is also like really dedicated, detail-oriented, someone who can spot a potential problem before it even, becomes a real issue.
Makes sense. Got to have that vigilance from day one.
Right.
What about the junior security guard level?
Okay, so for that one, they talk about someone who's, highly organized, able to manage a team, keep those schedules tight, but also really skilled at incident writing reports. Those analytical and communication skills, those are super key as you move up the ranks.
Yeah, it's not about what you can handle solo anymore at that point.
Right.
It's how you bring others along with you. So last but not least, what does a senior security guard profile look like, according to RoleCatcher?
Well, they really emphasize like a proven leader for that one. Someone who can not only enforce policies, right, but create new ones.
Yeah.
Someone who mentors their team, is constantly pushing for improvement, always learning about new technologies, new best practices, that sort of thing.
It's that commitment to lifelong learning that you mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
I like it. Okay, let's say someone listening, they're ready to take that first step. We know the job market's, it's competitive out there.
Oh, yeah.
What can they do to stand out, especially in an interview? And I know RoleCatcher has that, like, giant database of interview questions, right?
They do, over 120,000.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. We can't go through all of them, obviously.
Right, of course not.
But let's maybe look at a few that that really get at the heart of what makes a great security guard supervisor,
Yeah, I'm curious, what are some of those, like, unexpected questions they ask?
Okay, so one that jumps out is, how do you ensure your team is properly trained?
Okay.
And it's not enough to just say, oh, I'd run drills, right?
Right.
They want to see you understand the importance of mentorship, of building a culture of security awareness among your team. It's deeper than just checking boxes.
That's a great one, yeah.
Yeah.
It forces you to really think beyond that checklist, think about the human side of leadership.
For sure.
What else do they have?
Another good one is, describe a time you had to handle a sensitive security issue, but do it with discretion.
Ooh, okay.
Like, that one gets at your judgment, right? Your ability to maintain confidentiality, to understand that sometimes the best way to handle a situation, it's not always the most obvious one.
It's about being discreet and tactful, not just, like, forceful.
Exactly.
Interesting. What about the tech side of things? Are there any questions that really target that specifically?
Oh, absolutely. One they have is, can you describe your experience working with CCTV and other technologies?
Okay, classic.
Right. But again, it's about showing you're comfortable with those tools of the trade, that you can adapt to new systems, that you see technology as an asset, not, a burden or something to be intimidated by.
Right, right. So we've talked about, how to land the job, but I'm curious now about how the role itself is evolving. The security field, it's changing so rapidly these days.
Mm-hmm.
What's the future hold for a security guard supervisor, do you think?
Oh, it's a big question, because the security landscape, it's practically reinventing itself every day now.
Yeah, it's not your grandparents' security guard job anymore, that's for sure.
No, not even close. I mean, think about it. You've got cybersecurity threats, data breaches, even figuring out the ethical use of AI in these systems. That's the world that a future security guard supervisor is going to be dealing with.
I don't think they need a crystal ball these days.
Right.
Just to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
So what would you say is, like, the most crucial skill for someone in that kind of, like, ever-changing environment?
Adaptability, for sure.
It's
being able to learn quickly, pivot when you need to, even anticipate problems before they even happen.
Right.
That's going to be so important.
It's almost like being a chess master or something.
Oh, yeah.
Always thinking several moves ahead, but instead of pawns and bishops, you're dealing with, like, cybersecurity protocols and all these new technologies.
That's a great analogy. And it's not even just about, reacting to threats. It's about actively looking for new information, new training, always trying to find ways to, like, improve security practices.
So that thirst for knowledge, that's really key.
It's huge. And even as technology starts to handle more of that monitoring and detection work, the human element, being able to connect with people, build that trust, make those tough judgment calls, that's only going to become more important.
Because at the end of the day, it's still about protecting people.
Right.
Understanding why they do what they do,
Mm-hmm.
Their vulnerabilities, how our decisions impact their lives, all of that.
Exactly. It's a really complex field, always changing, but that's actually what makes it so fascinating. It's challenging, it's rewarding, and it gives you a real chance to make a difference.
For sure. For someone who's, up for that challenge, who likes that variety and isn't afraid of a little high-tech problem solving, it sounds like security guard supervisor could be an incredibly rewarding path.
Absolutely. And with resources like RoleCatcher out there, to guide you, you've got the tools, you've got the knowledge to really navigate it all.
Couldn't agree more. So if you're looking for a career that's definitely not your average 9 to 5,
Definitely not.
something that combines cutting-edge technology with, real human interaction, you got to keep security guard supervisor on your radar.
It's a career with a future, and who knows what amazing advancements are just around the corner, right?
So true. Well, that's it for our deep dive into the world of security guard supervisors.
It's been fun.
We hope this gave you a new perspective on a role that's really so much more than meets the eye.
Until next time, everybody, stay curious.